An online student at Central Penn College, Shaikit Wilson spends many hours studying communications. He is very passionate about politics and sport.
Is what is your definition of diversity?
Well, diversity in terms of media is having coverage from all points of view, being able to get different points of view from different races, from both genders, different economic backgrounds, different political parties. It shouldn't just be one-sided. Everybody's point of view should be accounted for.
Good. Now, what do you think the importance of having diversity in the media is?
Well, this country is at its most diverse in history, so it's important to, like I said before, to get all aspects to make sure that we may not be able to get every person accounted for, but at least get most perspective from people instead of having it from one point of view.
Tell me, Mr. Wilson, do you think that media today is diverse?
I think in terms of the different channels, because we have so many media outlets, it's diverse. But if you look at like your major networks like CNN, I mean like ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, I mean they still can do a better job at being more diverse. But because we have so many channels to watch, I don't think it's as important for them to be as diverse. But it still would mean something to the audience if they are more diverse in terms of not just race, but in terms of getting the opinions of people who are often ignored.
How do you think then that you can get the opinions of the people who are ignored? How can we bring more diversity into the media?
I think that happens when media outlets hire people who want to get the views of others. If you're just concerned about how rich folk feel about certain things, or you only want the perspective of certain people, you're not really getting the diverse content that should be available. I mean, in history, if you don't have much, you're often overlooked.
So, would you say then that who these people are hiring, the networks that you mentioned, are rich non-minorities?
Well, if it's pretty bad if you can name the non-white people who are on those major networks. Like I know growing up, Brian Gumbel was like the only black person that I saw on television. And because of that, he was one of the people that I admired because I always wanted to be in the journalism field. And regardless of how people think of him, he was one of the first black faces that I saw that was not only on the news, but actually like in charge, because he was like the main guy on the Today Show. So, I mean, even like 60 Minutes, I mean, Ed Bradley, he was the only black person on 60 Minutes, and they don't really have too many. Like Barbara Walters for a while was the prominent female, and then it went from her to Connie Chung. But if you can mention them, that doesn't bode well for any progress in terms of diversity in the media.
Interesting. Do you feel like people who look like you or represent what you represent, do you feel like you see them a lot in the media? Are you well represented in the media?
Well, it's not so much important that they think like me, because I don't think that's what the media should be about. But I think it is important that we live in such a diverse country that more diverse people should be on television. Not only in television, but in print. There's not too many print journalists that are African American or Latino. It's just important to get aspects not only from those groups, but to get aspects from everyone that reads the news, that watches the news, that is a part of the news, because the news just doesn't affect one particular person or one particular race or one particular gender. It affects everybody. So,
Can you think of, well, tell me, what is your favorite news network to watch?
usually when I turn on the TV for news, it's CNN, and the main reason why I watch them is because they do have a lot of diversity. They're probably considered a liberal television network, but they also have opinions from those who are conservative. They also have people on their networks that their diversity is much more prevalent than in other networks. I mean,
When you graduate and you get out into the workforce, how do you think you'll make a difference? What will you do to make sure that there is more diversity within the media and coverage and content?
well, I hope I'm not the one that just does the black stories. I would like to do, a whole plethora of stories. I mean, my concentrations are mainly on politics and sports, so I hope to bring. I don't want to. I mean, some flavor to both of those entities. I mean, I can only be me. I can only write about things. I can only write the way I write, but I just hope to bring a different perspective in terms of getting more opinions from those who don't get a chance to have their voices heard.